I'm Lavinia Nannini. I'm a registered Italian architect, but I've done a lot of working and studying in the US and in Italy. So I'm co-teaching two great courses, one in cartography and urban planning, urban design with Professor Sien and also Professor Martemucci. And then I'm also, alongside Romolo Martemucci, I'm also teaching architectural analysis. I grew up here and then I went to New York for college. So my first degree is from City College of New York in architecture, and then I actually came back to Rome because I wanted to start working, of course, and I started working for Massimiliano Fuxas. So that led me to getting my master's. I went back to New York and I got a master's in urban planning, urban design with Michael Sorkin, and that brought me to work and study in China and Mexico, so much more well-rounded, and it just widened the lens completely, which is why I like urban design so much. Well, my father's an artist, actually, so since I've been really, really small, I've always made art, and I was really good at sketching, drawing, so I loved the arts. But I'm also very pragmatic, very rational, so I loved the fact that, architecture kind of blends the two. It's very holistic as a discipline, it's very ordered, and yet it's completely creative. So I was drawn to it at a very early age. Always loved architecture. No, I think teaching is incredibly rewarding. First of all, I don't believe in teaching top down, so I love the idea that it goes both ways. I feel like as professors, we always learn from our students. But I also feel like specifically in this case, because it's architecture and Rome, I also have a lot to offer. Of course, my passion for the built environment and architecture, and also the lens of architecture versus urban planning, which is quite different. But then, of course, also my love for Rome, which is an incredible city to study because it's just so fascinating and so unique. First of all, architecture as a discipline now is so computer-oriented that for the last 4 years, most of these students have been in front of a screen. So the tactile part of architecture, which is architecture, is completely lost. So the immersive experience, already being in a city and literally learning to re-observe and analyze with your own eyes and not with like AI. I mean, it's not the same level of research. It's really tactile. It's true. It's something that you have to observe and learn from. And then, of course, we also introduce so much of actual sketching and drawing that has been completely lost. And Roma and I talk about it all the time. I mean, you don't think the same way if you're always on the computer. You literally cannot. Because the second that your hand moves, it's a different kind of intelligence, different kind of creativity. So I personally, and I was born and raised in Rome, and I also love the arts. I mean, I think that it's completely important. I mean, I feel like most architecture students should be forced to go abroad. I really feel like architecture is at a crossroads, the entire built environment is. We are as a species, and the two things are completely interconnected. So I think it's really time for, first of all, the younger generations who are in school to really rethink the field to some extent. I don't think you have to reinvent the wheel, those are two completely separate things. But the future of architecture is hand in hand with the future of the world. I mean, the built environment and everything else has always been interconnected, right? They're faced, I mean, really with a big difficulty, so to speak, but I also feel like, just like in an architecture project, as soon as you have a constraint, it becomes, something positive. It doesn't necessarily have to be negative at all, but I feel like they should go past what we can even provide, because it's really a field that has to be innovative, it has to be inclusive, it has to be sustainable. And so far, what we have is just not sufficient. Yeah. So the first is seeing. I mean, I truly believe we've kind of lost the ability to see, and by see I mean a very deep observation. I think Rome is a fantastic platform for this, right? Because it's a very, very complex environment in which we literally still have like antiquity and archaeological site in the center of the city. And then of course we see everything throughout the coursework, also the masterpieces of Baroque, all the way to the challenges of like modern Rome. I always remind my students it's also contemporary Rome and city with all its flaws, all its challenges. So you can learn anything from this city, from like preservation and respecting the built environment throughout history to of course challenges of modern city that all modern cities are faced with. So I feel like in that sense, I really always ask them to really observe. And this, by the way, takes time. Another skill that is being lost when you're always in front of the computer and you just have to wrap it up and make something happen. It's not the same as spending 3 hours in front of a church and like sketching. Not only what you see, but that's what we try to do in the Analytique, to really analyze, dissect, trying to understand the urban environment and all its facets, and how it all comes together. I think that's a huge lesson. You have to be in place, and you also have the time. You have to have the time. It just provides with a different perspective. And then, of course, I would hope they become always better at being critical of everything or anything because of the experience. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I actually think with Rome, I was thinking about the other day, you get two cities in one, which is really rare. You know, we have the eternal city. Rome is always going to be eternal. You're going to learn everything about proportion, beauty, just the incredible, you know, skillfulness of the ancient Romans. It's something that is still literally all over the city, which is like unheard of, you know, it's really rare. And then, of course, throughout time, you get everything else. But then you also get a contemporary city. And that's urban planning, that's architecture. I mean, it's that you could study that anywhere. And actually, I think Rome is challenged by the contemporary part, maybe more so than other cities, because it always has to balance out preservation with like innovation. So I actually think you get two. One that is really of now and crucial, because of course we have contemporary challenges with contemporary architecture, we have the struggles of everything, like everyone, transportation, cleaning up a river, you name it. And then, of course, you have other things that no other city has. You know, you can still literally, I mean, study and learn from the ancient Romans, structurally, I mean, monument-wise, material-wise. So it's an incredible platform. We should really rethink the built environment, and I think Rome is an excellent lesson.
We see life.